Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
And then after you go to the funeral house, if you got the guts, if you're able to do so, you go to the grave. And now this is another scenario. And you say to yourself, is that it? I mean, 50, 60 years, scraping, struggling, scheming, lying, stealing, fornicating, jumping up and down, begging, working, and this is the end of it? I mean, is this what's going to happen to me? Are they going to be dropping me into a hole in the ground? A hole in the ground, the same hole that a cat digs after it defecates. Just a little deeper. But for the same reason. The cat digs a hole because the cat has dignity. Something that human beings don't seem to have. Instinctively, the cat digs a little hole, covers it up. Humans have got to be taught to do that. But it's for the same reason. So you and we're going into a hole a little deeper than the one the cat dug. Because there's a reason for humans to go inside the grave. If the Creator wanted to, He could have caused us to live and then disappear into the atmosphere. But He didn't. He caused us to go into another womb called the tomb. You started out in the womb of your mother and you wind up in the womb of the earth called the tomb. From the womb to the tomb. This is the whole trip. And this is what you have to think about. That grave is going to be a place of drama and trauma.
In the grave will be either terrible punishment or a peace and blessing for the believer, the one who is righteous. This grave that we see over here will turn into a grave of fire. We find, for example, the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us about some of the punishments that people will have in the grave. And so he mentions to us in the authentic hadith once when Rasulullah was actually asleep, and Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam and Mikail alayhi salatu wasalam, the two angels came to him in the sleep and took him to a place and showed him a couple of people having punishments. One of them was a person who was lying down, and then this man was tearing from his side to the back, and then with an iron rod, and then he would start with the next side, and before the next side he would start, the first side would start to get healed again. And he was continuing this until the day of judgment. Who is this, Ya Rasulullah? Who is this, O Jibreel? Who is this, Ya Mikail? In that hadith, they told us that this refers to a person who has been punished in his grave, a person who used to backbite, a person who used to spread namima, a person who used to eat the flesh of his brother, a person who used to forget the sanctity of brotherhood. Such is a person who has been punished in that way. Another person Rasulullah described was a person who was swimming in an ocean of blood. And every time he would try and swim out of it, every time he would be drinking the blood and be vomiting upon himself and still drowning in that blood. And every time he would try and swim out of it, an angel would take a stone and throw a boulder and throw at him, and then it would push him all the way to the middle of that ocean.